Thank you for deciding to join the Pen Friends program this semester. This orientation will last approximately 20 minutes and will include everything you need to know about the program. Make sure that you're paying close attention so that you can correctly answer the following quiz questions and submit your application. Make sure you have thoroughly read the instructions listed on this page, or your application may not be approved. Thanks again for volunteering with Pen Friends this semester, and we at the CCE look forward to working with you. Pen Friends is a literacy program in which WSU students write letters to elementary school students in the Pullman area. The goal of the program is to promote literacy development and help the students improve their reading, writing, grammar, spelling, and penmanship skills. You will be exchanging weekly letters with your pen friend for 10 weeks during the semester. Each week, you will write about a specific topic, such as your favorite food or what you want to be when you grow up. At the end of this orientation, you will be given a document to print out that lists the 10 weeks you will be writing letters, as well as the writing theme for each week. You must make sure to submit your letters on time every week, because if 2 letters are late, then you will no longer be able to participate in the program. If you miss a letter, then the Pen Friends program coordinator will write a replacement letter, and it is not fair for your pen friend to receive this generic letter when they can get a personalized letter from you. Make sure to check your WSU email regularly, because that is how you will be contacted about Pen Friends during the course of the semester. If you are not already doing this, then make sure that you begin regularly checking your WSU email now. Otherwise, you will miss important updates and reminders about the Pen Friends program. As far as service hours go, you will earn 1/2 hour of community service for each letter that you turn in on time. This means that you could earn up to 5 community service hours over the course of the semester. The Pen Friends coordinator tracks all the hours that you earn on an Excel spreadsheet, and those hours are then inputted on CougSync during the 5th and 10th weeks of the Pen Friends program. If you ever have questions about how many hours you've earned, then feel free to email the Pen Friends coordinator at any time, but just be aware that the hours are not uploaded until the 5th and 10th weeks of the program. Finally, if you are trying to get class credit for letter writing, then it more than likely will not count since you won't be working directly with the elementary students. However, Pen Friends academic mentoring will most likely qualify for service, since you would actually go into the classroom and assist the elementary students with writing their weekly letters. If you are interested in becoming a Pen Friends mentor, then please register for the position on CougSync. Outside of the CCE office in the lower level of the Cub, there is a group of boxes attached to the wall, which have the names of the Pen Friend teachers posted on each one. Inside each of these boxes is a group of large envelopes with one envelope for each pen friend in that specific classroom. All you have to do is find the envelope with your pen friend's name, put your letter inside of it by 5 p.m. on your assigned drop-off day, and then return on your assigned pickup day sometime between 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. to collect your pen friend's response. If you are participating with a campus group, then you will not drop your letters off at the CCE. Instead, you will drop your letters off at a separate location that will be given to you in an email within a few days of submitting this application. You will, however, pick up your letters at the CCE, like every other Pen Friends volunteer, between 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on your designated pickup day. Make sure to pick up your Pen Friends letter before writing a response. It is essential that you are actually corresponding with your pen friend in order to help with his or her literacy skills. If you neglect to pick up 2 letters before writing a response, then you will no longer be able to participate in the program. Not picking up your letters indicates that you are more interested in the community service hours that you can earn through this program than actually developing a relationship with your pen friend, so don't forget to pick up your letters. If you ever receive a letter that has anything with disturbing content in it, this means anything related to sex, violence, drugs, etc., then notify the Pen Friends coordinator as soon as possible. There have been very few issues with this in the past, but the teacher will need to be contacted about it if this were to occur. Finally, make sure to leave the envelope in the box at all times. Do not take it with you when picking up or dropping off your letter. If you ever come to the CCE office and find that your pen friend didn't write a response to your last letter, then you must place a new letter in the envelope with your old letter. You are receiving community service hours for the number of letters that you write, regardless of whether or not you receive a response. If you didn't receive a response, it was probably because your pen friend was absent during the time that the letters were written. The Pen Friends coordinator tries to make sure that the pen friend academic mentors put a sticky note on an absent student's envelope, but unfortunately this doesn't always happen. If 3 weeks pass and you still haven't received a letter, then email the Pen Friends coordinator who will then email the classroom teacher and ask about it. If your PenFriends envelope is missing, but all the other classroom envelopes are there, then make sure to place your new letter in the teacher's box. Sometimes a student just forgets to return their envelope and leaves it in their school desk. In that case, the PenFriends coordinator will make a temporary envelope and place your letter inside of it when checking through all the classroom letters. If you don't put your letter in the box and your letter isn't there when the letters are checked, then unfortunately it will be counted as a late letter. If all of the envelopes are missing from the box when you come to drop off a letter, then place your new letter in the box to make sure that it is received and you earn credit for the week. Sometimes, emergencies such as bad weather keep the PenFriend mentors from going into a classroom during the time when they normally would. The PenFriends coordinator will try to email you and let you know in advance if this occurs, but sometimes this doesn't happen until after your letters are due. In order to ensure that the highest quality of letters are given to the elementary students, the PenFriends program has a series of letter policies that must be followed by all letter writers. You will receive one email warning if a letter policy isn't followed. After that, all future letters containing any errors will be counted as late. The first thing to remember is that you must only write your first name in your letters. You will only know your PenFriend's first name as well, and this policy is in place for the sake of confidentiality and privacy. Also, make sure to write each letter with large, easy-to-read handwriting. This means that your letters cannot be typed or written in cursive, and your handwriting must be approximately an inch in height. If it is difficult for your PenFriend to differentiate between lowercase e's and c's, or lowercase a's and o's, then your handwriting is too sloppy. What you may think is neat may be too messy for your PenFriend to read, so use your absolutely best handwriting in these letters. You will be notified if your handwriting needs improvement. In the elementary school classrooms, the teachers are helping their students learn about the proper way to write formal letters. As a result, they require that you, as WSU PenFriends, model this approach in your letter writing. All of your letters must have the date written in the upper right-hand corner, although the format of the date doesn't matter as long as it's there. Also, each letter must begin with Dear, followed by your PenFriend's name, and it must end with Sincerely, followed by your name. It is not okay to begin your letter with an informal hello, hey, or hi, or to end your letter with from. You must also make sure to write each letter on the appropriate paper. If writing to a first or second grader, your letters must be written on unlined paper. If writing to a third or fourth grader, your letters must be written on the lined paper that can be found on CougSync in the CCE Literacy portal. At the end of this application, you'll be given an opportunity to state which grade level that you would prefer for your PenFriend. If you are assigned a PenFriend that is in third or fourth grade, the PenFriends coordinator will send you an email within a few days with more information about where this lined paper can be found. You must also make sure to keep each letter that you write within the appropriate limits. For first graders, your letters must be between 4 to 6 sentences long. For second graders, your letters must be between 7 to 8 sentences long. If your letters are outside of these limits, then they will be counted as late. They have been decided upon by the classroom teachers because these sentence limits will adequately challenge your PenFriend without overwhelming them. Tailor the lengths of your letters to your PenFriend's literacy skills. This is especially important when writing letters to first graders during the fall semester. If your PenFriend isn't writing much back to you, then don't overwhelm them with a really long letter. In that case, keep your letters closer to the lower sentence limit. As your PenFriend's literacy skills improve, feel free to make your letters longer and closer to the upper sentence limit. For third and fourth graders, the teachers want your letters to be between 2 to 3 paragraphs long, with each paragraph having between 5 to 7 sentences. This means that you must use your discretion to decide how much to write to your PenFriend. A good rule of thumb is to begin the semester with a medium-length letter, then shorten or expand your letters once you become aware of your PenFriend's reading and writing abilities. The PenFriends coordinator will email you if your letters are too short or too long. For first and second graders, your letters must also include 1 or 2 specific details about the weekly theme. For example, if the weekly theme is "What is your favorite season?" then don't just say, "I like summer." Instead, expand upon this sentence with a detail or two, such as, "I like summer because I can go swimming." For letters to third and fourth graders, you must further expand upon the weekly theme. Think of it as a jumping off point to get you started on your weekly letter. Feel free to talk about other things that you or your pen friend want to discuss, but please make sure that the topic you are introducing isn't a weekly theme later on in the semester. Don't use more than one filler sentence in each letter. In fact, you don't have to use one of these kinds of sentences at all if you don't want to. These sentences, such as, "How are you?" or "I'll talk to you soon," don't contribute much to the overall theme or conversation in your letters, and they don't really help the elementary students improve their literacy skills, especially if they see the same filler sentences week after week. This is why you are only allowed to use one per letter. Also, make sure to answer the questions that your pen friend asks you. This is a correspondence after all, and the elementary students do remember which questions they asked you, and they are often disappointed when you don't respond to what they write. Only use language that your pen friend will understand. This means that you must be careful not to include extremely complex words or sentences. Don't overly worry about making your letters simplistic, but just keep in mind that you are a college student and you're writing to an elementary student who is still learning how to read and write. Make sure that the answers you include in your letters are age appropriate. This is especially important for any themes that pertain to the media, such as movies, music, TV shows, and books. If any media answer is over PG rated, the Pen Friends coordinator will cross it out and write in a different answer. Finally, only include small gifts during the designated weeks of the program. There is 1 week during the semester when it is mandatory to include 2 unused stickers with your letter, and there's another week when it is mandatory to include 2 small, bite-sized pieces of candy with your letter. Please staple or tape the stickers to your letter so they're easier for your pen friend to find. Please don't include any small gifts with your letter during other weeks of the semester, or they will be confiscated because it isn't fair to the other elementary students who wouldn't receive anything. At the end of the orientation, you will receive a document with the weeks when these gifts are due. Make your letters fun and colorful because the elementary students love anything that you can add to your letters for embellishment. You may not consider yourself to be artistic, and that's okay. However, it's not okay to write your letters on plain white paper with a pen. At the very least, use colorful paper and markers, add a border, and put a simple drawing at the bottom of the page. Please don't use crayons because they can be difficult to read. In the past, WSU students have made their letters into ice cream cones when talking about their favorite food, into a TV when discussing their favorite TV show, and into a baseball when telling about their favorite sport. It thrills the students to receive letters that you put extra effort into, and they can tell when you don't spend a lot of time on your letter. The next few slides show some examples of exceptional letters that WSU students have written in the past. It is extremely important to use proper grammar and spelling, as well as clarity, organization, and fluency when writing your letters. This seems like a no-brainer, but in the past there have been many letters containing improper grammar or incorrect spelling. These kinds of errors aren't appropriate for college writers in general, but they're especially unhelpful when trying to model proper writing skills to elementary students. In order to give you an even better idea of what the Pen Friends coordinator is expecting from you, as far as grammar and punctuation goes, the following is a compiled list of the most common errors found in Pen Friend letters. As with the letter policy expectations, you will receive one warning if a rule isn't followed, and after that, any future letters that contain formatting or content errors will be counted as late. First of all, it is a good idea to read your letters out loud to yourself to avoid awkward sentence constructions. For instance, instead of asking the awkwardly phrased question, "I was curious to know what your favorite school subject is," it would be better to simply ask, "What is your favorite school subject?" If you are still concerned about the clarity, organization, and fluency of your letter, then ask a friend to proofread it for you. Another fundamental rule is to always use complete sentences in your letters. Hope you have a good day is a fragment. It is not a complete sentence because it doesn't express a complete thought. In order to make this fragment a complete sentence, the word I must be placed in the front to transform the fragment into the complete sentence, I hope you have a good day. It is not acceptable to use fragments instead of complete sentences in PenFriend letters. If you need more help in understanding the difference between incomplete and complete sentences, then go to the PenFriends website for further resources. As we discussed earlier, the elementary teachers are helping their students learn how to write friendly letters, so it is also essential that the letters are properly indented. This means that you need to indent the first line of the letter, but don't indent the greeting. Also, it is essential to use commas correctly, because improper comma and semicolon usage is the most common error in PenFriend letters. If you don't know how to use commas correctly, then write your letters using simpler sentences that don't need commas at all. Do not begin sentences with conjunctions like and, but, so, or, and because. While this is not necessarily incorrect, there have been so many errors and incomplete sentences in PenFriend letters regarding this policy that it is simply no longer allowed. Since PenFriend letters are an example of formal writing, it is also not appropriate to use informal or texting speech. This includes symbols like the @ sign or an ampersand, and it also includes anything like haha or lol. Finally, it is also inappropriate to use words that aren't in a standard English dictionary, including non-words like nami, or wanna. Sometimes it can be confusing to remember how to properly use the words well and good. So, when using these words in your letter, remember that my day is going well, but I'm having a good day. Please try to properly use these words whenever you write your letters. When including details about various forms of media in your PenFriend letters, make sure to capitalize all main words of the title. For books, movies, TV shows, CDs, board games, card games, and video games, the title must also be underlined. For TV episodes and songs, the title must be placed into quotation marks but not underlined. A document will be given to you at the end of the orientation with an abbreviated list of these policies in case you ever need to refer back to it. Please use US instead of British spellings in your letters because that is what the elementary school PenFriends are most familiar with. For the greeting, please remember that the comma is placed after your PenFriend's name. The comma does not go in between the words dear and your PenFriend's name. Finally, if you're interested in becoming a PenFriends mentor, you are in for a treat. It's a lot of fun to spend an hour a week with elementary students as they write their PenFriend responses, and it's also a great way to earn community service hours. Additional mentors are always needed, so check out the position on Coogsync and apply. The application will take less than 15 minutes to complete. Thanks again for your interest in PenFriends, and we at the CCE look forward to working with you this semester.